No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who you've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Now everybody turn to your neighbor and would give them a namaste greeting, high five or a hug. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who you've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
I want to welcome everyone. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Mary Kay. Thank you to our amazing band. What a way to open, yes? So I want to welcome the live streamers, welcome everybody here, and let us just open with a prayer. You can close your eyes if you like. And so we center ourselves in this now divine moment. One life. There's only one thing going on. It is God, it is Spirit. By many names it is called. Yet there is only one. Each of us a unique divine expression of this infinite wisdom and love and beauty, grace, joyfulness. And so we come here this day to understand at an even deeper level that we are divine in nature, we are whole, we are complete, and all is well, and so it is. All right, well, now it's time to acknowledge our youth, and our youth with Reverend Gabby, Reverend Barbara Ann, and Jessica with the teens. Jessica and Reverend Meagan now have a group of teens. So another thing I wanted to acknowledge is Reverend Meagan has a table out in the lobby, and you'll see some products of Mary Magdalene, some beautiful pictures and candles, and the proceeds go to support our youth program. So please be sure to visit the table after today's service. So thank you for that. We're going to extend a blessing. So we just rub our hands together, open our hearts, and say, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you. Have fun. And also, is there anybody here for the first time or the first time in a long time that would like to identify themselves? If you are, we have our ushers have these blue cards, and on these blue cards, we ask your name, email address. We keep all your contact information extremely confidential, and there's also a little red heart. So if you're new here and would like to wear this little red heart, that would identify you, and we can make an extra special point to come out and extend a warm welcome to you. So welcome, 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 one and all. And I wanted to share a few brief announcements with you. I told you about the table in the lobby. Also, next weekend, we have Charles Holt coming. So if you've not heard Charles Holt, he's a beautiful singer and speaker, and he's also offering a workshop in the afternoon. So there's information out in the lobby about that. And we also have little handouts you can take with you about all of our upcoming events, because we're rocking and rolling in 2023. So we are moving along with that. And with that, I want to introduce Sharon Oxendine. She is our vice president on our board of trustees, and she's got a couple of announcements.
I have to have a microphone. Hello, everyone. I'm Sharon Oxendine. As a member of the board here at Unity, I would like to remind you of our annual membership meeting on February 19th. Be sure to be here. It'll be right after church. So I want everybody to mark your calendar so we can share some wonderful updates and let you know what's going on if you don't already know. I also want to give you another update from Reverend Darlene. She's out due to a health situation that came up and will require a procedure. It is not life-threatening, and she'll be fine, but she needs some time to take care of it. So she's joining us online, and we'll be back really soon to tell us a lot of really good stories. So thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you here at our membership annual meeting.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for your service. And now we're going to join in another song with the Williams sisters.
Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. I'm walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I'm singing and praising with my mind stayed on spirit. I'm singing and praising with my mind stayed on spirit. Singing and praising with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Don't you know that I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit? I woke up this morning with my spirit on my mind stayed on spirit. I said I woke up this morning with spirit on my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Hallelujah. So, again, my name is Reverend Christy. I don't know if I said that before. For those of you who don't know, I'm the associate minister here at Unity of the Blue Ridge. And thank you. I love you too. Thank you. And I wanted to share an inspirational reading with you this morning, and it is actually from Reverend Darlene. There's a famous BBC interview in which the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung is asked if he believes in God. Difficult to answer, he tells the interviewer. And then after the most perfect pregnant pause, he says, I know. I don't need to believe. I know. What does it mean to know the divine? Beyond belief. To know it infuses every part of your life, every day, every breath. In the Genesis creation story, God says, let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. Then God made male and female, equal, unique representations of God. The emanations and characteristics of the divine spirit are equally masculine and feminine. Today we ask the questions, is my understanding of the divine equally masculine and feminine? Do I experience the energy and presence of God equally masculine and feminine, yin and yang? If not, what am I potentially missing? This sacred balance is part of every spiritual tradition and every awakening journey towards wholeness and unity consciousness. And so today's, pardon? Thank you, Rev Darlene, yes. And so today's message is given by one of our youth ministers, Reverend Meagan Gosiewski, and her topic is spiritual wholeness. And so with those questions that we just asked ourselves, I open up a great big welcome to Rev Meagan. Oh, actually, you know what? Guess what? We're going to do a song first. Yep. I'm so excited to hear this talk because she shared a little bit of what's in there, and I need it. So we're gonna break that with a song, and I invite you to open up and be the vessel.
My soul is a river overflowing. My love is a fire with embers growing. I am the essence of divine expression. I am a vessel of God. I am a vessel of God. My hands reach down to the meek and the helpless. My legs stand up for those without voices. I march to the beat of a servant's heart. I am a vessel of God. I am a vessel of God. My words speak of comfort and acceptance. My actions spring from a place of wholeness. My light shines on and on. I am a vessel of God. I am a vessel of God. I am a vessel of God. Fill me with that spirit. Fill me with that goodness. Fill me with that power. Fill me with that light. Fill me with that spirit. Fill me with that goodness. Fill me with that power. Fill me with that light. Fill me with that spirit. Fill me with that goodness. Fill me with that power. Fill me with that light. Fill me with that spirit. Fill me with that goodness. Fill me with
vessel of God. You are a vessel of God.
You are a vessel. Beautiful. Well, that was a beautiful opening for us to welcome Reverend Meagan Gosiewski.
Thank you. Mary Kay, I was having to wipe tears from my eyes right before I get started. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for braving the cold, rainy Sunday morning. Before we get started, though, I really want to take just a moment and honor Bishop Dr. Jack Bomar, who was supposed to be here today. I don't know if those of you who know who he was, but back in 2017, when we had the Our Love is Power Summit, he spoke, and he was prolific, incredible speaker. He works at the Hillside Church, I think, down in Atlanta, Georgia now. And his mother passed away recently, and so he is with his family today. So I thought we could just send some love and light and just have just a brief moment of silence to honor Bishop Bomar in his journey with his mother and his family today. Let's just take a second. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, as you heard just a moment ago, I am working on the other side of this wall now most Sunday mornings at the children's program. So I thought before I got started, I'm just going to take just a moment to tell you some exciting things that are going on over there. We are building back up our Uniteam, which is the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders right now. We've just kind of quickly manifested several kids that are in that group, and we are working on getting our YOU group back up and running as well. We have some retreats planned. We're going to possibly do some events here. We started game night this past Friday. We had 14 people. I was so excited. We had all kinds of fun games. So yes, I'm just thrilled to be in this role and to keep developing this community. And I've heard multiple people say that they've been praying for our youth program. We really need it. As this church grows, we're going to see more families, more people together here, coming together collectively in community. So just keep your prayers going as we grow this program. And if you're so inclined after the service to see me and to learn a bit more about Mary Magdalene, which I'm going to talk about here shortly, and all the proceeds, like Reverend Christie said, are going to go to our youth program. We have a lot of exciting things planned. So without further ado, I got a call on Monday from our illustrious Rev D, as I like to call her. We call her our Rev D in our household. She called me and said, hey, what you doing? I said, working Monday morning. She said, you want to do the talk on Sunday? So I said, okay, sure. What are we talking about? And she said, how to become spiritually whole. And I said, that's a big topic to do in like 5 days. But I knew instantly what I was going to talk about. And I kind of laughed, and she said, what are you thinking? And I said, Mary Magdalene. She's my girl, Mary Magdalene. I'm going to talk about her. And she said, okay. So we are going to talk about Mary Magdalene today and how she became spiritually whole. So let's start at the beginning, though, first. What does it mean to be spiritually whole? What does that mean? As another hat that I wear in my life, I'm a therapist by trade, and I work with a lot of people that talk about wholeness in their life, what it means to be whole. And I always use the analogy of a pie. Now, it could be a pizza pie, it could be a meringue pie, you're probably hungry right now, but the idea is that it is a pie cut into equal slices. So you have your work life, your family life, your volunteer life, your travel, whatever it is. Everybody's pie is different because it's your own pie. So however you want to create that, but the idea is that it's balanced. And that's what spiritual wholeness represents, is balance. And as Reverend Christie alluded to with the reading from Reverend Darlene, in unity, one of the things we talk about with being spiritually balanced is honoring the divine masculine and the divine feminine inside of each of us. Because we're all made up of both. We have both. And in our current society, we tend to lean more towards the masculine because that is strength and brawn and all those things that we honor. But yet the nurture and the kindness and the peace that comes with the divine feminine is cast to the side a bit. But I know here in Unity, we honor both. So in order to honor it a little more today, we're going to talk about the divine feminine through Mary Magdalene and her story. And I have some really fascinating stories to talk about with her as we get into this talk today. We're going to talk about 3 prime areas of her life. One found in the biblical canon. And when I say that biblical canon, I mean the Bible verses or the Bible chapters that were chosen by the Catholic Church. And then the apocryphal stories, which are also outside but still very relevant to the story of Mary Magdalene. So there'll be 3 stories. But before we do that, I think it's important to talk a little bit about who Mary Magdalene is. Who was she, and what do we know from history? And I have to say, before I get into her, I have to give my complete I have a very strong connection with Mary Magdalene, very strong connection. She has come to me in dreams. I pray to her often like the Catholics pray to saints, even though I was never Catholic, but I just have this strong connection to her, so much so that in 2019, I got a very clear message that I was supposed to do something called a promesa, which is a South American dedication to a saint that they do in the Catholic Church. And so we gathered about 50 women at a bonfire in the winter of 2020, like fall of 2020, and I did my promesa in front of all of these women. In fact, some of those women go to this church. But it was such a beautiful experience, and one of those things with the promesa is I promise to do things to honor her, and she promises to do things for me. It's kind of that reciprocal spiritual reciprocity. So it's part of my journey as somebody who loves her, but it's also part of our journey to honor the divine feminine. Because there's so many wild stories about Mary Magdalene, right? We have all seen the Da Vinci Code. We've heard that maybe she was Jesus's wife. Maybe she had Jesus's child. It's also been postulated that she was a goddess worshiper. There's a lot there. But what I can tell you about Mary Magdalene is that she is the second most mentioned woman outside of Mother Mary in the New Testament. So there's definitely some strong, suggestion in her connection to Jesus if she's the second most mentioned woman. There's something to that story, because we don't hear about many of the other women in the Bible, especially in the New Testament, but we do hear about Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. We also know that she was at for 3 events she was present in the Bible. We have the death when Jesus was on the cross. She was there at the cross. A lot of the men had hidden, but Mary Magdalene was there with the other women. They were at the cross, at the feet of Jesus. She also was at the burial of Jesus. Now that has a lot of deepness to it, because it's said in Jewish tradition at the time, only women who were family were allowed to touch the body of the dead one and prepare their body for burial. But she was there. And the third one was, and I think the most important, is that when Jesus resurrected in the story of the Bible, the first person he showed himself to was Mary Magdalene. So she, even the Catholic Church has said, she was the true first apostle because he showed himself to her. And then she went back and told the other apostles. So lots with the story of Mary Magdalene, and we are only just touching the surface. We are only just touching the surface. There's so much more, and if I would encourage you, if you are curious to know more about her, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene is available in publication. There's a couple different interpretations of it, extremely fascinating, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment. So I do want to talk about the elephant in the room, so we should probably just not dance around it and talk about that whole prostitute thing. Yeah. So let me just say that came from Pope Gregory in the year 591 AD. Yes, it did. 591 AD, he said, reading through the Gospels at the time, he said, oh, yeah, no, she's that prostitute in this other verse. So now she's a prostitute, we're done, and it moved on, and it became part of the understanding of Mary Magdalene as a repentant sinner for 1,400 years. Now, I think it's important to note that when you look at what potentially could have motivated Pope Gregory to do that at the time, was if you look at the socio-political landscape in Europe, what was going on? So we're talking the Middle Ages, right? The Renaissance had not started yet. Paganism is still rampant. The Catholic Church wants to be the main church throughout all of Europe. They want to be the power, the big kahuna. So what do they see? Oh, these people are still worshiping the divine feminine. They're still worshiping the goddess. We got to stamp that out. So they did. So the only woman they were given through all of it was Mother Mary, and she was a virgin. I mean, hello, nobody's going to meet up to that for their whole life. So there's no way that we had, as women, we had no way, and men, to connect in with the divine feminine any longer because it was something that was unattainable. But in 1969, which, if you think about the time now, what was going on, the women's lib, right? The women's liberation movement was happening, and the Catholic Church came in and said, oops, we messed up. She was never a prostitute. The Catholic Church said that. Now, I will tell you, my spouse, who was raised Catholic in Poland, told me he had never heard that until I told him. They had always taught that she was a prostitute, she was a redeemed sinner. And they have a day for her on July 22nd, is her honor day as a saint, and they have taken that story away. But it's still relevant today, even though we don't. In unity, I think most of us, and there may be people who are hearing this for the first time ever, so just take that in. Just take that in. But the beauty about Mary Magdalene for all of us is that no matter what you believe about her, it's true. You can have that connection with her. You can say, oh yeah, I like that fact that she may have been a goddess worshiper. That means she was a feminist and all the, oh, go for it. Or you may say, I like the idea of her being a mother. Or I like the idea of her being the wife of Jesus. Or I like the idea of her being a repentant sinner. What does it matter? Create that story and develop that relationship that you want with her, for it can be your own. That's why she's so special. She's my girl. So let's move into the 3 stories that really represent how she came to spiritual wholeness. The first story is really about releasing and letting go. And I hear Kat's voice in my head right now. I do not have those pipes, so I'm not even going to try the release and let go song. But that's the song that comes to my mind for this piece. We first hear of Mary Magdalene in Luke 8:2. She's in a group of women that are all being healed by Jesus, and it said that she released 7 demons. Now, the Catholic Church, because I did research this, and I said, well, what does that mean? Like, if we were just to look at it for what it was, what could that possibly mean? And the Catholic Church kind of theorizes that it's the 7 deadly sins. We've all heard of those, right? We've got pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. Okay. Those are things we probably want to let go of, although I know every one of us has sat around on a Sunday afternoon and been a sloth and binged watched Netflix or whatever. So we're not perfect, but I could see that we would want to let those go. But we are unity people. We don't just take things at face value. We like to get in there and dig, right? We like the metaphysical interpretation, the metaphorical, like what could be more to that story than just, oh, the 7 deadly sins. Okay. Well, let's look at the number 7. 7 is a very magical number. Metaphysically, it means wholeness or completion in and of itself. It also is said that our body every 7 years rejuvenates itself. So we go from every 7 years, we have a whole new cell and everything has just magically created itself brand new again. That's good. We're getting somewhere. It's also said that we have 7 chakras in the Hindu system, starting with the root chakra and moving up to the crown. So we connect into our beautiful Mother Earth and connect above to Father God in the heavens. So if your chakras are clear, the energy's moving and, okay. But if we just boil it down to really what it is, it's about releasing and letting go. It's about doing the work, which is hard, but it's about doing the work. Now, I will say, Jesus was the catalyst for Mary Magdalene to heal. But if she had not done her work, she would have never been ready to let that go. We have to be ready to let it go, and that is the hard part. As someone who has worked with people through all kinds of issues, from addictions to trauma to whatever, sometimes we hold on to that because it's comfortable and we know it. It may not be safe always, but it's familiar. So in order to be able to let that go, we gotta do the work. We gotta release it. Now you hear Kat's song in your head, right? I release and I let go. Anyway, I'm not going to go any further. Just like that. As she began to release, she moved into Christ consciousness. That is one of the biggest teachings that we have here in this spiritual tradition. We all believe that we can connect in to Christ consciousness. It is our manifest destiny, if you will. Once we start releasing that which no longer serves us, our consciousness is raised, and we get to the point, as Christ said, these things ye shall do and greater. We can do this. We just got to do the work to start it. So let's move into the second piece. Now, the second 2 stories are not found in the Bible, and that's what I think gives them so much power and mystery and intrigue, is these stories have lived for thousands of years about Mary Magdalene. Think about that. It's been passed down through an oral tradition since she died or since she lived, and that's been almost 2,000 years ago. So the first story is about trust. 14 years after the resurrection, and I should say Mary Magdalene's story ends at the time that Jesus is resurrected. We hear no more about her again in the Bible. But that doesn't mean that her story was over. It just gets better. So she is in a precarious situation 14 years later. She has to make some decisions. The precarious situation is said, there's 2 different stories of backstories of how she gets into this issue that she's about to deal with. One is that her and Peter were not besties. And if you read the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, you'll see she and Peter did not agree on a lot of things. And the story of this part says that she was put into this situation by Peter because he wanted her to leave. He didn't want to deal with her anymore. The other backstory is that Christianity was starting to rise in Israel at the time, and people of the Jewish faith felt threatened by that because they wanted to keep their religion intact, and they put her in this situation. So what is the situation I'm talking about? She finds herself in a boat with no sail, no oar, and no rudder, pushed off into the Mediterranean Sea. The interesting parallel is that she is with 12 people, and she makes the 13th. Jesus had 12 disciples, and he made the 13th. They don't talk about what that number means or why it's there. That's not really in the story, but you can draw those parallels. There's something to that. But she's with 12 people, and they're in a boat, and they're in the Mediterranean, and they're just like, okay, now what? Trust. You have to trust. So you release, and then you trust. And what do you trust? We could say the divine. You could say your intuition. You could say your heart. You could just trust that it's going to work out for the best when you step off. Like Martin Luther King says, when you take that first step on the stairway, you got to trust that God's going to build that stairway as you're going. And that's how it goes. That's what Mary had to do. So she's off in this boat, and she's going. And she lands in Provence, France. Now, I could think of a worse place to land, I'm going to tell you. I mean, Provence? I'm thinking maybe she got a baguette, you know, she kind of looked around. Whatever happened, she ends up in Provence, and there she spends the rest of her life. And there is actually Mary Magdalene's ceremony that happens every July 22nd, where it said they have her bones, and they put them in, it's a weird skull that they put in this like glass contraption, and they parade it through the streets of the area in Provence, and the name of the town escapes me. But they say that she was there, and that's what she did the rest of her life. And there are actually trips here that people plan here in Asheville that go there and go through all those areas and walk the steps that Mary Magdalene would have walked the last years of her life. So that's where she was. She trusted, because she was sent out in that boat to die. Let's not pamper that. That is why she was sent out in that boat. But she didn't, because she trusted her heart. She trusted the divine. And then the last one, and maybe my favorite. The last 30 years of her life, it is said that she decided to seek refuge as a hermit. So she created her own little hermitage in this cave in an area called La Sainte-Baume. And I think I said that right. If anybody speaks French and I butchered that, please forgive me. But that's where she was. 30 years of her life she spent in this cave. And in this cave, she prayed and meditated. It said she ate roots. And there was a natural spring that was in the cave, and she drank from the spring. But what's interesting about this is she healed. She was a healer. She took the same practices that she had learned from Jesus, and she was there in this cave healing people, and people would come from all over for these healings. This cave, though, if you step back and look, this cave, before Mary took up residence, was known as a goddess of fertility. People would come from miles around to pray to this goddess for healthy children and a good harvest, and they would leave their offerings at the foot of the cave for this fertility goddess. And I find it interesting that Mary Magdalene chose that cave, maybe because it was well known, maybe, who knows, right? That's where you can create the story as you will. I'm just giving you the facts as I've heard them. So she does this for the last 30 years of her life. People come. She's able to spread the word of the divine and understanding. And the key to this particular piece is she had to let go and surrender. She had to surrender. Because once you surrender, you allow the divine spirit to come in and use you. And she was a vessel. As we just heard the song perfectly, Mary Kay talked about a vessel. We become the vessel. So once we do our work, once we trust, we surrender and become the vessel that the divine has for us. Now, what does that mean, being the vessel? There's a beautiful song by Ricky Byers-Beckwith that I just love, and she also happened to be at the 2017 Our Love is Power Summit. And those lyrics, and I'm not going to sing them. I can, if my children were here, they would be cringing if they even thought I was going to sing. It's, use me, O God, I stand for you, and here I abide, once you show me all that I must do. And then it goes on. But those are the main chorus. Use me, O God, I stand for you, and here I abide, once you show me all that I must do. So we have to surrender. We need to surrender. We want to surrender. Because once we surrender, life gets so much better. We can step into our spiritual majesty. Mary Magdalene was said the last few years of her life that the angels came down to this cave and took her up to heaven multiple times a day. That didn't sound like a bad way to go for me. I'll take that. I'll take the angels coming down to me. You can come down right now, but I don't want to go forever. I just want to come and experience that love of pure, beautiful surrender. So, Richard, could I get that song? So again, it's about releasing, it's about trusting, and it's about surrendering. Once we can do those things, the divine feminine, if you will, because we've been talking about that, but it also works for the divine masculine. This is your story. That's one of the things that we really iterate and reiterate over and over again as unity, is anytime you read a sacred text, whether it be the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita or whatever you decide to read, you see that through the lens of your own life. These characters are a representation of you and how you can get to the place where they were in the story, or how you can learn not to go to the place they were in the story. That's the metaphysical. It's the deeper understanding. So I'm going to end today with a quote by an author by the name of Meagan Watterson. Anybody know Meagan Watterson? Besides just her name, that I love Meagan. Meagan Watterson wrote a book called Mary Magdalene Revealed: The First Apostle, Her Feminist Gospel, and the Christianity We Haven't Tried Yet. In this quote, she's talking about her book. And she says, if this is all you read, if you put this book down at the end of this sentence, know that this is the most important message of Mary's gospel. We are infinitely good. Now, if you're still with me, that goodness can never be lost. We can feel lost to it, but it's woven into the fabric of who we are. It's our nature, goodness. And the world and the word that for me describes this experience of knowing this inherent goodness is soul. The word soul to me describes that eternal aspect of our being, an aspect that allows us to feel loved and to experience that we are love, and that our humanity is not intrinsically sinful or shameful. This human body is the soul's chance to be here. So let's take that in. It's honoring that space inside of ourselves, the divine masculine and divine feminine. Honoring that sacred balance, the sacred marriage of the two parts of our wholeness, that beautiful dance. Balance. And I'm speaking these words knowing that they are true now for each of us here in this room, for we are all divine light. We are all divine love. We are all divinely whole. And I know that our thoughts, our words, and our deeds take us a step closer when we release, we trust, and we surrender. This community of beautiful, beautiful, like-minded souls comes together to celebrate that balance, to celebrate the divine spark inside of each of us. And we lift each other up, and we love each other, and we hold each other when there are tears, when there's laughter. It's all love. I pray for all of these beautiful souls, myself, and all the beautiful young souls on the other side of this wall. For we are all together dancing in the light of divine wholeness. And I say thank you, God. Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you for this gift of being human and the gift to share love with each moment. Amen, aho, so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Meagan. And let's just extend a blessing to her. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the divinity in you. Thank you so much for that message. And yeah, you just hit a little bit on it this morning in our conversation about the content, and what a beautiful message. And I love that that idea of balance as wholeness. You know, not just the pie. Mine would be pizza, but not just the pie balance, but that birthing our truest divine potential and then doing the work. To me, has this feminine masculine balance. So that was beautiful. Thank you. And I want to invite our Tom Zinker. He is one of our prayer chaplains, and Sharon Oxendine from our Board of Trustees. And Tom is carrying a prayer box. Over on the table, over by the exit doors, you'll see the prayer box, and we have slips of paper, and if you have a specific prayer request, you can write that down, put it in the box, and our prayer team, which is our prayer chaplains, ministerial team, our sacred prayer circle, and also goes to Silent Unity, holds that in sacred prayer for you. And also Tom will be available for one-on-one prayer following today's service. And Sharon is holding the blue box. We no longer pass the offering, but we have several blue boxes available if you care to share a love offering to support, give financial support to our community. There's many ways to continue supporting the spiritual community online, texting, these blue boxes by mail, and just want to thank everybody for your continued support in person, in showing up, in serving, and in your financial contributions as well. So thank you for that. And let us do our affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. I am now in perfect balance and flow with the universal tides of giving and receiving. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Love is alive in the space between us. Hear those words right now. God speaks out in the words between us. Hear those words right now. I am holy. You are holy. There is beauty between us. See the light that flows between us. See that peace right now. Spirit shines in the light between us. See that light right now. I am holy. You are holy. between us. Faith is the bond that we share between us. Hold that faith right now. Truth is the life in the breath between us. Live that truth right now. We are holy. You are holy. There is beauty between us. Love is the light that we share between us. Feel that love right now. Faith is the bond that we share between us. Hold that faith right now. We are holy. You are holy. There is beauty between us. You are holy. We are holy. There is beauty between us. Love is alive in the space between us. Feel that love right now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Kat, Mary Kay, our amazing band, thank you so much. Reverend Meagan, thank you. All of you live streaming, thank you. What a beautiful, beautiful day. We've got so much love between us, yes. Beautiful. So let us stand and we'll close with the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth and